Wedding day, white wedding dress, floral decorated venue, happy families. Is this your dream wedding? But what if your groom were a tree? In some parts of India, this isn't just a dream, it's a real practice. Yes, you heard that right. Women are literally married to trees. Today, I'll tell you about perhaps one of the most unusual marriage rituals in the world. And believe me, this story will surprise you. Prepare to journey to a reality very different from the world you live in. The story begins with a belief system thousands of years old. Vedic astrology is not just a tradition in India, it's a way of life. Astrology is at the center of everything in Indian culture. From the decision to start a business to buying a house, from the wedding date to the name of a child, everything is determined by consulting the stars. And within this system, there's a condition called Manglik, or Mangal dosha. The name of the planet Mars in Sanskrit is Mangal. If Mars is in the 1st, 4th, 7th, or 12th houses of a person's natal chart, that person is considered Manglik. And this is where things get complicated. Mars is considered an aggressive, fiery, and warrior planet. Manglik women are considered cursed. The belief is that if these women enter a normal marriage, they will bring great misfortune to their husbands. Illness, poverty, fights, even death. Think about it. From the moment you are born, your entire future is marked by a circumstance beyond your control. It's estimated that 1 in 4 people in India is Manglik. This means that approximately 350 million people are affected by this belief. With such a widespread belief system, marriage becomes nearly impossible for women. This is because a non-Manglik man believes that marrying a Manglik woman will endanger his own life. For Manglik women to be cleansed of their curse, they must first marry a tree. You might smile when you first hear it. Maybe you might be in disbelief. But it's a ritual practiced by millions of people. Here's how the process works. First, families consult an astrologer. Astrological charts are examined, planets are calculated, and if the girl turns out to be Manglik, the family takes action. A wedding date is set, just like a regular wedding. The auspicious hour, called muhurat, is calculated using astrology. The girl wears a wedding dress, usually a traditional red or pink sari. She wears jewelry, gold earrings, a necklace, and bracelets. A mehendi or henna ceremony is held. Her hands and feet are adorned with henna. Friends and relatives gather around. But the groom is a tree. The groom is usually a banyan tree or peepal tree. These trees are considered sacred in the Hindu faith. The banyan tree is the national tree of India. The peepal tree is known as the Buddha's tree of enlightenment. The tree is carefully selected. It must be a strong, healthy, old tree. The tree's trunk is cleaned and decorated. Garlands of flowers are hung. And the ceremony begins. The bride circles the tree 7 times. This is the most important ritual in Hindu marriage ceremonies. This step is called saptapadi. Each circle represents a vow. Priests recite prayers in Sanskrit. A fire is lit, just like in a real wedding. The bride offers flowers to the tree. Yellow threads are tied to the tree's trunk. These threads symbolize the bond of marriage. And then the ceremony is solemnly announced. This woman is now married. Married to the tree. Some ceremonies last for hours. Guests arrive, food is served, music is played. It appears to be a completely real wedding. Only the groom doesn't speak, doesn't dance, and doesn't put a ring on the bride. This may seem illogical to you. How can people in the 21st century believe in such things? You might be thinking, but to understand this belief, you need to understand Indian cosmology and social structure. Collectivism is very strong in India. The individual is part of society, an extension of the family. A woman's decisions affect not only herself but the entire family. Marriage is not a personal choice, it's the union of 2 families. And they don't want to take risks with such an important decision. The anxiety of, what if it's really cursed? What if something happens to my husband, is very strong. Furthermore, social pressure is immense. If a family arranges for their Manglik daughters to marry a tree without marrying them off, and something goes wrong, society blames them. So, this ritual is also social insurance. It's a way of saying, we did our best, the gods know the rest. And of course, these beliefs are instilled from childhood. Grandmothers tell them, mothers tell them, neighbors tell them. Everyone knows a Manglik story. People remember examples that support their beliefs and forget the others. So, what do you think these women feel? Here comes the most shocking part. A few hours, sometimes a few days, after the ceremony ends, the tree is cut down. Yes, exactly as you read. It's like killing the groom. In some regions, the tree is cut down immediately after the ceremony. Sometimes it's waited until the night before, and then the next morning. Of course, the tree isn't cut down ceremonially. It's done quietly and secretly. And there's a great paradox here. To break the curse, the tree must be killed, because, according to belief, the curse has now passed onto the tree. The Manglik woman's negative energy, the evil influence of Mars, all that bad luck has transferred to the tree. When the tree dies, the curse disappears with it. The woman is now technically considered a widow, but a cleansed, purified widow. And now she can marry a real man, free from the Manglik curse. The man's family is no longer afraid, because the curse was already removed in the first marriage. And here's the irony: trees are sacred in India. Cutting down trees is considered a sin. But cutting down trees for the Manglik curse is becoming acceptable. Some women see it as a burden they bear for their families. Some believe it's a requirement of faith. Others rebel. In 2014, when Anjali, a young woman living in Delhi, learned that her family wanted her to marry a tree, she filed a lawsuit. "I live in the 21st century. I'm a university graduate. I can't marry a tree," she said. Her family put immense pressure on her, but Anjali resisted, and eventually, she convinced them. But not every woman is as fortunate as Anjali. Most women in rural areas lack education and financial independence. And for these women, refusal is an option. Being an unmarried woman in India is very difficult. Society defines women by marriage. In other words, marriage to a tree is the price they pay for social acceptance and a normal life. In modern India, there is strong opposition to this practice. Feminist groups and activists criticize this ritual. They say, this superstition objectifies women. But on the other hand, for millions of people, it's a sacred tradition. And interestingly, it's not just in the poor and rural areas. Even Bollywood stars have been married to trees because they're Manglik. Famous actress Aishwarya Rai was also alleged to have performed this ritual before marriage. She never confirmed it, but it was discussed in the media for years. This shows that this belief transcends socio-economic classes. From the poor villager to the Bollywood star, everyone believes in astrology. Now ask yourself, when does a belief system become culture, and when does it become a violation of women's rights? India is changing rapidly today. It's a technological powerhouse, the country that landed on the moon with its space program, and the rising star of the global economy. But it's also a place where deeply rooted traditions, religious beliefs, and astrological systems remain very strong. The younger generation is increasingly questioning this. Campaigns criticizing these practices are spreading on social media. Urban, educated families no longer practice these rituals. But in rural areas, in conservative communities, they still persist. 65% of India lives in rural areas, and change is very slow in these regions. Perhaps this story reminds us, the world is much more diverse than we imagine. What seems absurd to us may be sacred to someone else. Women who marry trees demonstrate the fine line between cultural relativism and universal human rights. On one side, there's respect for cultures. On the other, there are universal values: human dignity, freedom, equality. Balancing these two is one of the greatest challenges of the 21st century. Perhaps the most important lesson this story teaches you is the power of empathy. To seek to understand, to listen without judgment. Because we live in this world in very different ways, and each of our realities can challenge another's imagination. So, what do you think? Where do cultural traditions end and individual rights begin? Is this ritual something a woman can freely choose, or is it a result of societal pressure? Share your thoughts with me in the comments. And if you enjoyed our journey into the issue of female genital mutilation, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories from around the world.